Hi, kindergarten. I am back today with our friends. We have Pigeon and Piggy and Gerald, and of course, Pete's hanging out up here. So today we're going to read a book called The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. And I know some of you probably know this book in your heart and in your head, or maybe you've even seen the movie. So if you have, you are welcome to read along with me. And if you don't know the words, it's okay. You can just follow along. That'd be great today. So I'm going to move our friends over here for story time so I can show you guys the pictures. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows and no birds ever sing except for old crows is the street of the lifted Lorax. Now this is certainly not what the cover looks like. Look at that cover, bright and cheerful. That's kind of dark and gloomy, isn't it? And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler lives here. Ask him. He knows. Look at this place. Do you think anybody would live there? I don't know. It's quite interesting, isn't it? You won't see the Onceler, don't knock on his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum cold under the roof where he makes his own clothes out of muffin moof. And on special day midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters and sometimes he speaks. And he tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great, 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 great grandfather snail. Look at that. Look at that place. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. And then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, a secret strange hole in his grubbyless glove. He grunts, I'll call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Down slips the whisper-my-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snarkly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started back such a long, long time back. So this is now, and now he's going to start telling us about long, long ago. So this is way back then. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place. And I first saw the trees. Oh, the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. Now think about this picture, the way it used to be. And I'm going to flip back. This is the way it looks now. What are you noticing? Go ahead and tell somebody. Yeah, it's certainly changed, hasn't it? And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula trees. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming and splashing around. Look at this. Yeah, there were no pictures of barbaloots or humming fish playing. No, there were not. This is what it used to be. That's not what it is now. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what to do. Well, I unloaded my cart. Look at that. He's going to stay there. The Onceler's going to stay there. In no time at all, I built a small shop, and I chopped down the truffula tree with one chop. Ka-chop! And with great skillful skill and great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted my very first need. Now look at this tree. It's chopped down. And there's all these other trees. What do you think? This is a long book, boys and girls, so it's going to take us a while to get there. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump, and I looked and I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? Well, I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Look at that. He just went pop right out of that tree stump. Why do you think he's there? Any thoughts? Mister, he says with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. Why, he was very upset as he shouted and he puffed. What's that thing you've knitted out of my truffula tuft? Oh, so Lorax wants to know what that is. I'm curious. I would like to know what it is too. Look, Lorax, he said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped down just one tree. I am not doing any harm. I'm being quite useful, he said. The thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses far beyond that. Oh, yes. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or for curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. No one on earth will buy that fool thneed. Do you think somebody will buy it? Yeah, I think so too. But the very next minute, I proved the Lorax was wrong. For just that minute, a good old chap came along. He thought that the thneed I knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor silly guy. You can never tell what some people will buy. Somebody did buy it. But there he goes. He bought it. He thought it was great. Now I want you to look at these brown barbaloots back here in the back. Do you see them? Look at their faces. Do they look happy, sad, or maybe something else, maybe even surprised? Pete, sit still. Quit interrupting. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. That was not nice at all, was it? Not at all. Look at that. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, I built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and my uncles and my aunts, and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for our whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken and a sharp right at South Stitch. He's giving them directions to get there. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all busy knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Look at this. They all listened to chop, 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 chop all day long. Now I want you to notice, look at all these trees that have been chopped down. Do you think they planted new ones to replace them? And here's our friend the Lorax. He's watching it all happen. How do you think Lorax feels about this today? Then, oh baby, oh how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was way too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, psh, he didn't show up anymore. So if they're chopping them down even faster, do you think the trees are being replaced faster? But the next week he knocked on my new office door and he snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who play in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and they happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go around, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. Look at those barbaloots. They do not feel well at all, do they? They have nothing to eat, so they're eating bad stuff for their bellies, and their bellies are getting hurt. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They have no food. They have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried as the Lorax sent them away. But I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies in your tummies, you know. So does the Onceler care that the trees are disappearing and the barbaloots are disappearing? No, he does not. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. So I had to grow bigger. So bigger I got. I biggered my factory. I biggered my roads. I biggered the wagons. I biggered the loads of the thneeds I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds. And I biggered my money, which everyone needs. So boys and girls, yes, money is important. But there's other things we need too, like air and water and a place to live. You know those things that all living things need? Then once again he came back. I was fixing some pipes. That old nuisance Lorax, well, he was back with more gripes. I am the Lorax, he coughed and he whiffed. He coughed and he sneezed and he snuffled. He snargled and sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a crofulous croak. Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke. So he's making, it's called smog. Smog is like smoke and fog mixed together, and fog by itself is not bad, but when you put smoke with it, it really gets in there and it hurts your throat. It makes it burn. My poor swami swams, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in their throat. Look at those swami swams. How do you think they feel? Look at them. They can't be happy singing birds. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They can't live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month, or maybe a year, to escape all the smog you've smoked up around here. So Lorax is really trying to teach that Onceler something, isn't he? He's really trying to get him to understand something. Do you know what that is? What's more, snapped the Lorax. Boy, his dander was really up. Let me say a few words about your gluppity glup. Your machine chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity glup. Also, sloppity slop. Look at that. Glop, 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 glop. Right there. Slop, 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 slop in that machine. And what do you do with this leftover goo? Well, I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. So, you're glumping up the pond where the humming fish hum. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. I'm sending them off. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that just isn't so smeary. Look at this water. Do you think that's a good place for something to live? And look at all these tree stumps that have been cut down here. Have they been replaced somewhere? Nope, not yet. Also, I want you to notice these truffula trees back here. Do you think they are healthy looking truffula trees or not so healthy truffula looking trees? We're almost to the end. And then I got mad. I, the Onceler, got terribly mad, and I yelled at the Lorax, now you listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, 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 and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. Do you think really everyone truly needs a thneed? And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside the fields came the most sickening smack. It was an axe on a tree, and then we heard the tree fall. It was the very last truffula tree of them all. Look at that. No more truffula trees. They're all gone. That's it. That red one is the last one. What do you think? What do you think the Lorax has been trying to say all along? No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles, my aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left, beneath the bad-smelling sky, was the big empty factory the Lorax and I. Do you see the Lorax? So this is what it's like now. And all these other pages are what it used to be. And it kind of tells the story of how things have changed. So look at that. The Lorax said nothing. He just gave me a glance, a very sad, sad backward glance. As he swiftly lifted himself by the seat of his pants, I'll never forget the sad look on his face when he hoisted himself and he took leave of the place through the hole in the smog, leaving without a trace. Look at that. Just one little spot for him to get out. Picked himself up by the seat of his pants. Look at that. Sure did. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the word, unless. Well, whatever that meant, I just can't guess. What do you think it means? That was long, long ago, but each day since that day I've sat here and worried away through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, and I worried about it with all of my heart. Look at that. Would you like to live in a place like this? No trees, no brown barbaloots, no swami swans, no humming fish. No, I don't think anybody could live here. Look how nasty it looks. Do you think it looks like a clean place to live? Pete, honey, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to move over here out of the way so I can show them the pictures. Okay. Let's finish this book. But now, says the Onceler, the guy that lived up here, remember? Yeah, so now we're back to where it is now, not how it used to be. Now that you're here, well, the word the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. So I think the Onceler, I think he understands now. He understands that you have to care about things like the trees and the animals. So, calls the Onceler, he lets something fall. It's a truffula seed, the very last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. And then the Lorax and all of his friends just may come back. And that, my friends, is the end of our story. So I'm just curious, what do you think that the Onceler and the Lorax are trying to get us to understand in the story? And that's going to be our writing project this week, when we try to figure out what the Lorax is trying to tell us. So think about that and talk to a grown-up or maybe somebody at your house about it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.